So we're very excited to have him on today to share with all of us the exciting world of cryptocurrency. So Blockchain Wayne, I'm going to pass it to you. Looking forward to taking notes from your information today.
Hey, Tuan, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Definitely. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Also, can you give me the ability to share my screen? I've got a treat for everybody tonight. So if you were on the Monday night one, you definitely got, you've got a good bit of information about the why behind cryptocurrency. Why is it important? And if you didn't watch that one, I recommend as soon as we release the recording, you go back to it. But this weekend next on the Mondays, I'm going to really go deep into the why, the cryptocurrencies, looking at current financial systems. But tonight, what we have is we've got a PowerPoint that was put together. I was talking with the team this morning, and one of our educators, Chelsea, she gave this presentation at the Miami Crypto Experience in November last year. So we actually tweaked that presentation a little bit, and I'm going to be basically going over that tonight because it's about the basics. And we're going to give you a sneak peek of the basics and some of what you're going to see more of in the courses, but you're going to learn enough tonight to where you felt like it was value, it was worth your time. And you're probably going to want to share this with others because there's things to know, and many people just don't understand what's going on with crypto. They don't understand the basics behind it. So we really want you to be able to not only understand it, but be able to understand the concepts behind it, explain some of the basics to other people as you're talking to people, and also be able to do some of the basics. So Tuan, is there any way you could fix the presentation part? Let's see. All right, I got it now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to share my screen just so you can see. And I don't know if Tuan or somebody can speak up and let me know once I share if you're able to see it. All right.
We can see it.
You can see it. All right. Let me bring my Zoom back up just to make sure. All right. So this is Bring On the Basics, Cryptocurrency Trading, NFTs. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about myself when we get there. Tuan already told you some of the basics about me, but just understand that I am very passionate when it comes to education around cryptocurrency. Education is the path to adoption. When I say adoption, I mean mainstream use with cryptocurrency to where it's everywhere. People are accepting it. People are using it. In many cases, people are using it and they don't understand it. And there's a bridge that we have to take to get there. And that bridge to get from where we are now to adoption, to mainstream adoption, is education. And the other part, of course, is easier user interfaces for people to use. That's on the development side. So I'm not a developer. So the biggest thing that I focus my time on when I became passionate about why cryptocurrency is the education piece. So the basics are something that you really want to understand. People want to jump in and just throw money into cryptocurrency without understanding it. And I hear it all the time. When the market's hot, people think that's great. But when the market's not, that's when you really see things happen. So we're going to go through the basics tonight of some of the topics that are really trending topics. Touch a little bit on what is cryptocurrency, a little bit on what is DeFi, some of the basic elements of trading, and NFTs. So they sound like a lot, but we're going to give you a high level overview of what you're going to see, and some of the more detailed content is going to be within the courses. But this class is really an intro, and that's why we called it Bringing On the Basics. So let's see. All right. So a little bit about myself. I'm the lead educator for DeFinity FI, as Tuan said, co-founder of Miami Crypto Experience. We've had 2 events already. We've got 3 more planned. And the whole point of that is we don't call it a conference because it's more of an experience. We create an experience, everything from the vendor show to multiple different workshops going on at the same time that allow people to pick and curate what they want to learn about. And we bring in educators from all over to teach about a whole range of topics. And I've been a consultant and advisor to numerous projects, many of them kind of behind the scenes, helping them with community messaging, marketing messages, feedback on actual usability. Like I said, I'm not a developer, but I understand how projects should work, whether they're an exchange, a cryptocurrency project, a wallet, helping them to improve their product or project to bring it to the masses. And so that's something you're probably going to see. If you look up some of my content in Google and find some stuff online, you'll see some things like in the last couple of years, especially with News Crypto and a project called FIO and others, because I'm passionate about projects that are helping people to make cryptocurrency easier. A little bit about Chelsea, because she's the one that put this together. You're going to learn more about her. She's traveling right now with family, but she put together this presentation as far as the PowerPoint. She's a crypto advisor, same as myself, multiple projects. She's been an ambassador for multiple projects, which publicly promoting them. Educator, coach. She's a registered nurse, but by trade, her background as a nurse is the last few years she's been building educational programs in the nursing field. And that ability to build those courses has really spilled over into her passion for crypto. And she also runs one of the largest women's Facebook group called Crypto Coin Trader Women's. It's a very active and engaged large group on Facebook. So that's a little bit about Chelsea. So some of the topics we're going to cover, the basics, buy, store, send, and secure crypto. I'm going to talk about high level stuff, altcoins, what are altcoins, and how to learn, basically how to learn the basics about those. And then project review. Some of the things to look for from a high level to determine projects. If you're new to cryptocurrency, or even if you've been in a while and you go to look up like on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, we'll share those resources here in the next few slides. You see there's thousands of different cryptocurrencies. And while cryptocurrency in itself, blockchain, decentralization are revolutionary topics that are going to change the world, there's quite a few different cryptocurrencies, most of them that are listed, that are not really going to get anywhere, not going to have any traction, because anybody, anybody else can create a cryptocurrency. But the true test behind it are those things we're going to show you what to look for. Trading basics, trading terms, we're going to, high level trading terms, types of trading, what are candlesticks, which is the basics of learning how to look at a chart. Whether you're trading or you're buying and holding, everybody needs to know how to look at a chart and figure out what's going on. Risk management is something that should be talked about really everywhere. And then we're talking about Bitcoin and altcoins and the relationship from those when it comes to trading. And then NFT basics. NFT, we threw this in here because NFTs, non-fungible tokens, are a hot topic. If you don't know what that is, don't worry, I'm going to get to that later on. It's in essence, it's a digital collectible. Many people think, oh, it's just people are paying this much money for a JPEG image, just a file or something, but it's so much more than that when you look at the utility and how things can be used. So we're going to talk about NFT use cases, NFT investing, and other tips for non-fungible tokens. So this is a high-level overview of some of the hottest topics in the space, and you're going to see DeFi is also thrown in there. But have you ever asked yourself these questions? How do I buy Bitcoin? I get that on a daily basis now, especially, Tuan mentioned those same people that 4 or 5, 6 years ago was telling me I was crazy, especially when they saw a Bitcoin price just tanking from 2018 to 2019. But by then, my belief was so rock solid that in the future of this technology, that I knew that the price dropping was more of a blessing for myself than it was a curse, because I knew that it was an opportunity to accumulate more at a lower price. And those cycles are going to happen time and time again. But it's each time it gets higher and higher and higher, because of, we're going to talk about some of the things that make Bitcoin unique. And those also help you to evaluate, okay, other projects. How do I look at those to see if that cryptocurrency meets some of this criteria I'm looking for in a solid project? What is a wallet, and how do I set up one? Everybody asks that. Do I need a wallet? Where do I get a wallet from? So we'll talk about that. What is a good price to buy Bitcoin? I've got a good answer for that one that I'll go more into detail on shortly. What's the right altcoin to buy? Altcoin is a term that's coined. It's anything other than Bitcoin. And that's really why, because Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, the first one to get mainstream adoption, the first successful one. And then many others have followed, and everyone has been some kind of alteration or iteration of what Bitcoin is, maybe a different network structure, different consensus method. There's different things that make them different that can help solve a problem. And then what is the point of a non-fungible token? What is the point of this image? You see right now, the hottest thing going around is these NFTs that are apes. And what does that really mean? And it's not so much what the image is, but what you get with it. So let's talk about Crypto 101. So disclaimer, also, I got to read this. So this is just for educational purposes. So any investment contains risk. Nothing is risk-free in life. and it's your responsibility to assess the risks, rewards involved. We're going to teach you how to assess that. What is a blockchain? So blockchain, many people hear that. Oh, they hear blockchain. It's a buzzword. Everybody uses it. Companies think that their stock is going to double. They just talk about putting things on a blockchain. But what does that really mean? It's a decentralized digital ledger. It keeps records of all transactions taking place on a peer-to-peer network without any intermediary. So all the transactions are stored in blocks of data. New blocks are set on a time basis. Like in Bitcoin, every 10 minutes, a new block of Bitcoin is created, which means all the information and transactions that happen during that time period are locked into a block of information, and it cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. It is tamper-proof. Encrypted information. All the information transferred is encrypted, and every occurrence is recorded. It cannot be altered. Just mention that. And then data sharing. The blockchain can be used for more than a transfer of currency. It can be used to share contracts, records, NFTs, and other types of data. It can be used anything where you need a public registry that cannot be altered or manipulated by bad actors, people that want to manipulate. Think about anything from a land registry of keeping a record of who owns land, who owns vehicles. Even to the point where I tell people there's going to be a day, and this is something I believe wholeheartedly, and this is my own opinion, but there's going to be a day where even the stock that you buy on the stock market is going to be traded on the blockchain. Because if you understood the archaic, outdated system right now that settles behind the scenes every day when the stock market closes, you realize why having all that information being traded and stored on a blockchain will be way more transparent, and it's really better overall for the market. So that's something I feel is going to happen one day, just because of the future of what blockchain is. So what is cryptocurrency? People like to compare it to traditional money, which is fiat money. Fiat money is government created money that is not backed by any kind of asset or commodity. For instance, the dollar is not backed by anything other than government decree. It's not backed by gold anymore. It hasn't been backed by gold since early 70s. So that's, a lot of people like to compare it to that, but it's not. Cryptocurrency is not controlled by any one person, any group of people. It is a decentralized. It is on a decentralized network that is not controlled by anyone. It's an online currency. It's a form of digital money. When you think about it, we live in a digital world. So having a decentralized digital currency just makes sense. You're seeing things happen today. And I mentioned this on Monday, but no matter, and I'm not going to get into your beliefs, but I think we can all agree that what's happening right now in Ukraine and Russia, that there's innocent people on both sides of that border, both in Ukraine and Russia. Both of those have been seriously hindered in their ability to just transact on a daily basis with money like they have in the past. And, cryptocurrency is an option for some of them. And it's been used for people to donate to Ukraine and people to still be able to live their life and basically support and feed their families. So no matter what side of the border you live on, cryptocurrency has given them the ability, because we live in a digital world, you can use it to pay anywhere. I can pay the person sitting next to me in cryptocurrency, or like in the past, I've paid people in the Philippines and in Asia for work they've done for me in cryptocurrency, and it hits them instantly. It's secure. Cryptocurrency is secure for holding assets. It's a decentralized network. Like I said before, it allows two unknown people to safely transfer money. It creates trust in a trustless environment. You don't have to trust the person you're transacting with or the person on the other side of that, because whether or not you're going to get counterfeit money like we could in the past. It literally creates trust in a trustless environment, because you don't have to trust the person on the other end. You can trust the network, which could be tens or hundreds of thousands of computers that are running that same network that are verifying. It's almost like 100,000 sets of eyes that are looking at each other. And cryptocurrency has been touted as a hedge over inflation, not in the short term. And I hear people talk about every day recently, like, well, Bitcoin's not a hedge against inflation because from 3 months ago to now, it's slightly down in price to where it was. So it's not doing good in terms of inflation. But too many people have blinders, or that they're just short-sighted. When you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies that are created, built into their code, you'll be able to see, and you can go to the blockchain and see what is the current circulating supply and what is the total supply that's ever going to be in circulation. And that's not going to change for the good projects where that's locked into the code. Whereas fiat money, like we talked about before, when there's problems, they just print more and more and more. And when you dilute the money supply like that, that's when prices go up. Eventually, when you're in a global market and someone can just hit print and there's more money out there, you're going to see prices start to go up. It's going to cause inflation. And over the long term, cryptocurrency can be a hedge against inflation. So I mentioned this: cryptocurrency versus fiat. Cryptocurrency is created by computers. Fiat's issued by government. There's limited supply versus unlimited. We talked about that. I talked about that earlier. It's a digital way of money exchange versus a physical. It's so much easier to exchange physical. Think about this, because a lot of people talk about, and I'm not against gold. Gold and silver are great commodities to have as well. But gold versus Bitcoin, if you are in a country that, say, is being invaded right now, and you need to flee with whatever you can grab, if you have quite a bit of money that's in gold, it's going to be kind of heavy and hard to transport. Cryptocurrency, you can leave with everything on something the size of a flash drive, or you don't even need that. You just need, if it's all stored on a wallet, you can destroy all your devices and just keep a copy of those, what's called a seed phrase or backup phrase. You're going to learn that when you start to set up wallets, that allows you to restore that wallet anywhere. So you can leave with just a sheet of paper or something etched into metal. And then whenever you get where you need to go, you can restore that money. It's very easy to travel. And I know most of us are not going to be in that situation, but when I think about cryptocurrency adoption, I think about, by me pushing for cryptocurrency adoption where I live, it's going to help the millions and millions of people elsewhere that need it as a way of life, as a way of survival. And we're going to help get there by helping push adoption forward. Decentralized is not controlled by any entity, whereas fiat currency is centralized and controlled by the law and banks. We've seen that recently, whether it was the convoy that was up in Canada, people were donating money to them because they believed in their cause. Now, again, I'm not going to get into what side you believe on, because I'm not saying there's a wrong or a right side, but bank accounts were frozen for people that were supporting that. Not even just people that were there, people that donated to the cause because they believed in what they were doing, their bank accounts were frozen. So that's what happens with centralized systems. A lot of times we think they only highlight that that's good because they can freeze bank accounts of criminals. Well, 99% of the people in the world are not using money for criminal activity. They're using it to support their family, to support their future. And sometimes when you may not even be breaking the law, but the banks or someone else may have the idea that maybe you might be, they can freeze your money without any kind of just cause. And that's just really almost anywhere you live in the world. So value is not determined by supply and demand. Peer-to-peer is fast transaction. I mentioned earlier how quickly I can pay someone across the world. Most banking transactions take 2 to 3 business days, except when they're pulling money out. When you go to purchase something at a store and they swipe your card, that money comes out right away. But everything else that you need to do typically takes 2 to 3 business days. Look, our kids and future grandkids and in the future, they're going to grow up in a world where that's going to sound crazy to them. 2 to 3 business days. Why would I do that when cryptocurrency can be instant, can happen in no time? There's no cross-border restrictions with cryptocurrency. It's borderless. It's peer-to-peer. There's no restrictions, where with fiat currency, every time you cross a border, it gets complicated. And usually that complication comes with the currency exchange, loss of certain funds, fees being paid. Cryptocurrency is cross-border. It's borderless. It doesn't matter which side of an imaginary line you grew up on. We can transact without any problems. And it's tamper-proof, whereas fiat currency is more, anytime you have a centralized system, there's central points of failure. And we saw that in the past few years with multiple different banks. The one most notorious is Wells Fargo. One of their servers went down and nobody in the country could withdraw money on a Wells Fargo account during that time. One central point of failure. Bitcoin, a whole country can go offline. You saw recently, if you pay attention to what's happening in the news, several months ago, China kicked out all the Bitcoin miners. So they kicked out all the people that were mining Bitcoin by running computers, securing the Bitcoin network out of China. And when most of those machines went offline, Bitcoin never went down, didn't have any downtime. And not only that, it's stronger now than the network is stronger now than ever, because those machines, along with others, popped up elsewhere in the world. So that is the power of decentralized systems. Think of cryptocurrency as a market as well. Cryptocurrency right now, it doesn't have mainstream adoption. It is similar to the stock market in the fact that you can trade. Prices fluctuate And there's a lot of volatility when it comes to crypto, which can be a good thing in the early days as we move towards adoption. But the crypto market is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you can trade at any time. And that's one of the things I love. Years ago, I was very intrigued by the stock market, wanted to trade the stock market, but all I could really do is buy and hold, because during the day when the stock market was open, I was working. With this, when I first got into cryptocurrency, I'm able to, I was able to trade at night and take advantage of some of these market fluctuations. Not everybody wants to trade, and you don't have to trade to get into crypto. But if you want to trade, I want you to understand some of the things, some of the benefits of the crypto market that allow you to be able to get in, allow you to trade based on those factors. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about trading topics here in the future. So, backbone in the crypto world right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are your top two cryptocurrencies in value. There's a lot of other promising currencies out there, and it's not going to be a zero-sum game where Bitcoin is going to be the main thing and everything else is going to go away. There's numerous different cryptocurrencies that solve different problems, have different use cases, and are going to impact different industries differently. And that's why it's important to understand that. Whereas, right now the US dollar is the world reserve currency, and that's pretty much what everything's backed on. But in the background, the Federal Reserve is constantly inflating that supply. Over 40% of all the currency in circulation was printed in the last 2 years. And that should scare you when you think about that, about how much money is just being pumped into the market. Because, you and I didn't receive, much of that money. Where did it go? Let's talk about Bitcoin. I mentioned Bitcoin. It was the first. Bitcoin was the first successful decentralized digital currency created by Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto is an anonymous figure, and people may say, does it really matter who Satoshi is? It doesn't, because it's a decentralized system that, even though Satoshi Nakamoto, and sometimes I'll catch myself saying he, but we don't know if Satoshi Nakamoto was a male, a female, a group of people. But Satoshi Nakamoto stepped away from the project years ago, and there's many different thoughts and rumors as to what could have happened. One of the people that was one of the first people involved in Bitcoin, many people think he may have been Satoshi, and he passed away from ALS. But it doesn't matter, because the network continues to work. It continues to grow. And even if you don't know who the creator is, people that understand code can look at the Bitcoin code and understand it works. It works. People that understand mathematics at a high level can look at the computational code and all the mechanics around Bitcoin itself and see it works. And it uses proof of work, which means miners lend their computing power to solve these mathematical equations to verify transactions on the blockchain. And in exchange, they earn a block reward. So Bitcoin is set to release at a set schedule. Every 10 minutes, a new Bitcoin is released. Now, every 4 years, that amount gets cut in half. So the supply is the new supply is slowly getting less and less as that happens. But they're also earning a reward from transactions that are being processed. So that's what proof of work is. So when you hear mining, I know it sounds weird when you think about it from a digital standpoint, but that's typically what mining is. Bitcoin is decentralized, it's secure, no central authority is needed, which is why it doesn't matter who Satoshi Nakamoto is. Transparency. Oh, sorry, got to go back. Open source, public transactions. I can go to a blockchain explorer and I can see all the transactions that happen. Now, I don't know who those Bitcoin wallets are, because all they give you is Bitcoin wallet addresses and where those transactions are happening, but you can see it. Everything is transparent. Imagine charities and other organizations where people always wonder, if I donate money or if I give money to this cause, is it going to go to the right place? Now, imagine if all of that was cryptocurrency on a public blockchain where you can verify that those funds are going where they need to be. It creates transparency, which could make the world a better place and prevent bad actors from doing the wrong thing that are in power. Privacy. You can remain anonymous on the network. Fast global transactions, borderless. I can send from anywhere. Disinflation, which is the word Chelsea uses for, it's the opposite of inflation. It's deflationary. There's less and less available each day. The supply is fixed and the demand continues to rise. So that's where we look at the long-term benefit of, this is why I think Bitcoin is important. And also when I look at other cryptocurrency projects, does it check those boxes as well? Complete ownership and control of your money. That is one of the biggest things that most advocates in the cryptocurrency space believe in. Now, with that complete ownership and control comes great responsibility. If I have my funds stored on a cryptocurrency wallet that I control all the security to, then I'm responsible to make sure that I protect that information. I back up that information. I keep copies, because that's the responsibility that comes with great with great power comes great responsibility. But that also means that even if I'm doing nothing wrong and some person or entity in power thinks that I'm doing something wrong, they could arbitrarily freeze my money in the bank account. They can't freeze my cryptocurrency that I have, because I have true, complete ownership and control of it. As I mentioned before, Bitcoin, there's 21 million Bitcoin total that's ever going to be created. There's around 3.5 million Bitcoin left on exchanges, 2 to 3 million that are yet to be mined. Now, some Bitcoin is lost. People in the early days were mining Bitcoin when it wasn't worth anything, and they may have had, these ledgers or wallets that had 50, 100, 200 Bitcoin in it, and they just lost it. So that just makes it more scarce. Now, the thing about Bitcoin as well is you think, well, that's not a lot. How can that be how can that be used globally? Well, the smallest unit of Bitcoin is called a Satoshi. And it's when you think of one Bitcoin, it can be divided by 8 places behind the decimal point. So even if one Bitcoin is worth $1 million, I'll still be able to send you a few dollars worth of Bitcoin because of how much it's divisible. And we call those the smallest units Satoshis. So you hear people call it Satoshis, and in honor of the creator of Bitcoin. And you also hear people call it sats for short. It's the smallest unit of Bitcoin, equivalent to how the cents work for the dollar. It's just Bitcoin is more divisible. Satoshi to Bitcoin ratio is 100 million. 100 million Satoshis equal 1 Bitcoin. So I honestly feel there's going to day where that's going to be the denomination that we go everything off of, because instead of saying, hey, you owe me 0.0005 Bitcoin, you owe me 5,000 Satoshis. And it's easier to say. So buy, store, send, and secure crypto. Why is that important? So on ramps, you can buy on exchanges. So whether you decide to trade actively or invest cryptocurrencies just to hold, you're going to need to buy Bitcoin or altcoins with fiat currency first. There's actually a couple different ways where you can get cryptocurrency. The easiest way right now is to buy it with fiat currency. You find on ramps like exchanges or wallets that allow you to buy cryptocurrency within them. You link a bank account or a credit card and you're able to purchase. Now, as this evolves, I can tell you I've done work and I've gotten paid in cryptocurrency. So that is another option to where you can get paid in cryptocurrency. And then also another option is, with like in DeFinity FI, for instance, you can earn cryptocurrency by referring others to the program. So there's multiple ways to get to cryptocurrency. The way most people get started is to buy on exchanges. So exchange platforms, you have to look at what's available in your area where you live. And we go into different ways to look at those resources in our Academy courses. But there's Coinbase, Gemini, Kraken, crypto.com. There's also, Binance is another big one as well. It just depends on where you live. For instance, if you live in the US, you can't use regular Binance. Binance US is available to certain states, but just about everywhere in the country can use Coinbase or Gemini. So you really have to look at where you live. Kraken is another global one that could be available in your country. Stockbrokers like Robinhood. I don't really recommend Robinhood, and I'll tell you why in a second. But also apps like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App. So Robinhood, PayPal, and Venmo, you can buy cryptocurrency on there. But the thing is, you never have true ownership or control because they don't allow you to withdraw that cryptocurrency. If I buy it on Coinbase, that's a centralized exchange where they can hold it for me. But if I want complete control, I can withdraw it to a wallet where I control it 100%. When it comes to Robinhood, PayPal, and Venmo, they don't allow you to do that. Now, Cash App does. So if Cash App's available in your country, I've bought Bitcoin numerous times on Cash App. It's very easy to do. And then you can withdraw it instantly to one of your wallets. And then offline in your local area, Bitcoin ATMs, it's just like it sounds. It's an ATM where you can take cash to and you can go to and you can insert the cash and purchase cryptocurrency, or vice versa. If you want to cash out cryptocurrency, you can get cash out from the ATM by selling cryptocurrency to the ATM. Believe it or not, my first cryptocurrency transaction in 2016 was on a Bitcoin ATM. I was actually, at the time, Coinbase was having trouble with their new account verifications, and I was ready to get invested. I was ready to get started after looking at it and passing it up over the years. And so I found a Bitcoin ATM that was about 50 miles from where I lived, drove out there with a friend and purchased Bitcoin there. And then free Satoshi from apps like Fold and Lolly. And I've used both of those. Lolly is a shopping app that pays you back in Bitcoin rewards. Fold is something similar. It's an app that allows you to get Bitcoin rewards back. In fact, I was looking today on my Fold account. The last 30 days I've used the Fold account, I've earned $30 extra in Bitcoin. So those are ways you can get Bitcoin as well. So how does Bitcoin work? You download the software on the computer. Software will generate a unique address. This is your public address. You can share that with anybody. Unlike a credit card number where you don't want anybody to see it, your public wallet address, you can share that with anybody that you want them to pay you, because they can't steal your funds. There's a separate private key that allows you access to control the funds, but your public key just allows people to send cryptocurrency to you or to pay you. I think of it this way. So with a credit card, it's a pull transaction. So a transaction is able to pull money off of your account, where with cryptocurrency, it's only a push transaction, where the person that controls the private key has to be the one to push the cryptocurrency to make the payment. So this is kind of the scenario here. Bitcoin Network authenticates your transaction, and now you can use Bitcoins to pay online. It's typically how you get started. In a nutshell, many exchanges will require you, especially if they link to a bank account, to follow KYC regulation. That's not something that any of us are really thrilled about, but it is part of the game. Just as if you were opening a stockbroker account on Scottrade or E-Trade or any of those other trading sites, you would have to verify your identity, which typically involves entering your personal information, and in many cases uploading a photo of your ID. Some of them even make you do a picture of yourself, and then you've got to complete the requirements, wait for approval. Next thing I always recommend everybody do is two-factor authentication. This is an extra layer of security. One, when you're creating an account, make sure that your account is secure. Make sure that your password is secure. Don't use the same password for everything. Make sure it's a long password that's hard to guess. That would be pretty much impossible for anybody to guess. And then use two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is a second level of security that allows you to protect your account. Even if someone is able to guess your username and guess your password, they won't be able to get in because they need that two-factor authentication code. And most places will give you the options to either do the app, use an authenticator app, which is what we recommend for most people getting started, because that is the most secure of the entry level ways of setting up two-factor authentication, which means you have an app on your phone like Google Authenticator. And whether you have an iPhone or Android, you can use Google Authenticator, but you literally sync up with that account, and there's a time-based code that changes every 30 seconds. So after you enter your username and password, it's going to ask you for your authenticator code, and you have to enter that code before it changes again. So the only person that has access to it is you, who has it on your device. Now they'll give you the option to do SMS or text message authentication or email authentication. Those are not recommended and not as secure, because if someone hijacks your phone line, which has happened to many people in the past, then they can reset all your accounts. Or if someone hijacks your email address, they can hijack your accounts. And me personally, I've even set up two-factor authentication on my email accounts, on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter. Every account that I have that has a username and password, I have two-factor authentication set up, just to keep it secure. So purchasing your first crypto, you make a purchase, decide on how on crypto and how much. Now, this is where I go back to, if you haven't bought any cryptocurrency before, doesn't matter how big or how small that purchase is, learn the mechanics of it. A mentor of mine has always told me, he said, to know and not to do is not to know. And what that means, it doesn't matter how much you know or how much you read or how many books you've read on the subject, until you actually do it and go through the actions, you don't truly know it. I can read a book on how to fix my truck, but if I don't actually go into my truck and do do what it tells me to do, then I don't really know how to fix my truck. And it's the same thing with anything in life that you need to go through and do, learn and do, and then teach someone else. So I make a purchase, decide on crypto and how much. Payment methods, you can buy with a bank account or debit or credit cards on most exchanges. Purchase, review the accepted payment methods and fees, and verify the purchase has arrived. So I would challenge you, not for anybody else other than yourself, just to see how the process works, is to actually go through that process of making, I don't care if it's $5, make a purchase of crypto if you haven't already, just to see the process. It's not as hard and intimidating as it sounds. Most exchanges and most platforms have made it to where The process is very easy. And then you're going to learn, once you're holding something like cryptocurrency, then you have that thirst to learn more, because, okay, now that I know how to do this, I need to really understand more about this. And that's going to really push you to learn more and then to do more. So it's very important to go through that. Now, let's talk about wallets real quick. I mentioned earlier wallets where you control. There's two different types of wallets. Main types of wallets, which are hot wallets, which are online wallets, and cold wallets, which are offline. Some of them are exchanges like Binance and Coinbase, to where they are controlled by centralized exchanges, which means you don't have complete control over that. Highly accessible, connected to the internet. They could be vulnerable. Now, Exodus, SafePal, Trust Wallet, a lot of those wallets are mobile wallets. They're considered hot wallets, but you control the private keys behind it, which means when you go to set up that wallet, it's always going to give you a big recommendation with a big alert to make sure to back up your private seed. And they're going to give you, in most cases, a seed phrase or a backup phrase, which is usually a 12 to 24 word. It's randomly generated words, but it's set on an encryption code that helps you to unlock that wallet. And you need to write that down, store it somewhere secure. Don't store it on your computer. Don't store it on a Word document or the notepad on your phone. Store it somewhere physical, on paper, on metal. Lock it up somewhere. That way, if anything ever happens to your device, then you can restore it on another device easily using those seed phrases. Back in my early days, it's actually in 2017, I was using the Exodus wallet on my computer. At the time, they didn't have the mobile app yet. They only had a computer-based wallet, and my computer crashed. And I had quite a bit on there and kind of panicked, but I knew that I had written down those words. So I went to my safe, got out the notebook, went to that seed phrase on the new computer. I downloaded the Exodus wallet, entered that seed phrase and was able to restore access to that cryptocurrency. The reason being, we call these things wallets, but they don't truly hold your cryptocurrency. If we just use the term wallet because we're used to that word, that's what we use to store our physical money in a wallet. So we call this a wallet, but it actually operates more like a keychain. It gives you the keys to access your crypto. Your cryptocurrency is stored on the blockchain. The wallet is just the keys that unlock your access to utilize that. And that's it with hot wallets. Cold wallets are more like your offline physical devices. Many of them look like flash drives. And they are physical devices that allow you to access your funds. They're not connected to the internet. They're highly secure. As you mentioned, hardware wallets is what I was just talking about, but there's even paper wallets. A paper wallet is just what it sounds. Now, a paper wallet, the paper gets ruined, you lose access to those keys. But paper wallets are a thing to where you can literally have the keys printed out on a paper wallet that is removed from the internet, and then plated those seed phrases I was talking to you about that allow you to restore those wallets. There's also metal plated devices that allow you to either etch or put in the punched out metal numbers of your seed phrase. That way, even if a fire or a flood happens, paper can be destroyed, but that metal is not going to be destroyed, and you can still restore that. Now, I know this may sound over your head, and I'm sure once you get into it, you'll understand it better. But just know, when I go back to great responsibility as far as securing your own cryptocurrency, this is what that is. If you're going to get involved in cryptocurrency, whether it's to trade, to buy and hold, and just invest, you are doing it for a better future. You're doing it for that investment to earn money, and so you need to protect your assets. You control the keys to the vault. Many people prefer to use their own wallets to avoid counterparty risk, which means we've seen it happen in the past. Over the years, there have been exchanges that have been hacked and gone down, and everybody's funds that were on there disappeared. Whereas if you control your own security, you control your own cryptocurrency. But as we mentioned here, responsibility and diligence is required. There's a risk that someone may hack a cryptocurrency exchange, like I mentioned before, or the exchange goes bankrupt. I've seen that happen as well. So it's important to understand that we want me personally, and I tell people, take responsibility of your assets instead of trusting someone else. We've seen historically putting trust in other entities, whether they're government or other companies, to protect our assets has not always been the best, been the best choice. How to send Bitcoin to wallets. So to send Bitcoin, you need their Bitcoin receiving address. And this is just an example of a Bitcoin address. So if I wanted to send someone Bitcoin, I would have them send me their Bitcoin address, and I would copy that and paste that, verify that the number is correct, paste it correctly, and then I can send it to them. Or if I'm physically near them, or I'm paying, maybe on a website, or I'm paying, paying somebody that's close to me, I can scan a QR code that will contain that information. You just need to make sure that it all matches up. And if you want someone to send you Bitcoin, now when I say Bitcoin, any other cryptocurrency has a receive address. When you go into a wallet, whether you're on an exchange or whether you're on a mobile wallet or hardware wallet, the option to send and receive is there. So if I want to receive Bitcoin, I hit that receive button on there, wherever it may be, and it's going to give me my receive address, and I send that to someone. Before you send large amounts, do a test transaction. This is one of the processes that can be very cumbersome and scary to new people. And in many cases in the early days, I can tell you, before the user interfaces got easier, many of us sent cryptocurrency to the wrong address. And there's actually projects and processes that are going to make this easier to where you don't do that long string address. One of them is a project I'm consulting on right now. So there are things that are making that easier, but that's the process of sending cryptocurrency. We talked about secure, private, and public keys. Your private key is what I was talking about earlier, that you get in the form of that seed phrase. Don't share that with anybody. It unlocks the rights to the keys, and you lose access if you lose your private keys. Public key allows you to receive cryptocurrencies or to send them to other people's public keys. All right, so let's talk about altcoins and project review very briefly. Altcoins are considered crypto that's not Bitcoin. So different categories: coins, privacy coins, exchange-based coins, stable coins, utility, DeFi-related coins, NFT-related coins, and many more. And this is where we go deeper a lot of these topics in the Academy. So starting next week and going forward, we're going to start, a lot of the content is starting to be plugged into the Academy. So you'll have access to those packages each week. More and more is going to be uploaded really over the next 6 to 12 weeks. It's a ton of content that's been created, that's being finalized, that's going into that. You can learn more about, not just learn about these, but how can you benefit from them? How can you utilize those? What kind of processes can you get into to where I can, participate in DeFi? I can participate in the NFT ecosystem. I can use stable coins, or stable coins are pegged to a stable asset, somewhat stable asset. They're pegged, many of them are pegged to the dollar. How can I use those for my benefit in cryptocurrency? Because if I buy them, they're not going to go up in value, but there's other options to utilize those to earn a yield. So we go through all that. CoinGecko is a great resource to get started. If you go to coingecko.com, it's just a market aggregate site, and just play around on there. It'll be overwhelming at first if you've never been on it, but as you can click on any different cryptocurrency you see, and there's so much information there to where you can learn more about it. So crypto project research, the 4 T's. And this is where we really go deep too in the trainings. But you want to look, when you're looking at a cryptocurrency project, many of them, when they're just starting out, they're not as decentralized as you think. You think about even Bitcoin in the early days was not decentralized from day one. It led to a stage to where it's decentralized, and it's more of a sliding scale. So in the early days, it's important to know, especially this cryptocurrency project is coming out as new, is to know the team behind it and what are they doing, the technology, what is it doing, and what's the value analysis versus other competitors, or is it just the same of 10 other projects that are trying to do the same thing and nothing unique? And what's the problem solving capacity? And then also their code, how does it work? And then the tokenomics, which is a word that's thrown around a lot in cryptocurrency, but it's just like it sounds. It's the economics around the token or coin. So that they have a white paper that typically gives a roadmap of why they were created. The market cap, how much of that cryptocurrency is out there, and what's the price action right now? And then there's cycles and price movement. And then the timing, roadmap, opportunities to users. Not every cryptocurrency is a bad investment because the project's bad. Sometimes it's just timing. If you're buying at the top of a market cycle and that cryptocurrency may be doing some great things, people that buy at the top and then the price goes down a little bit, they think it's garbage because, well, I lost money. I don't have as much as I had before, when really, truly, it wasn't a bad investment. It wasn't a bad project. It was just bad timing. So those are things you want to look at when evaluating a project. And we go more into that into the courses. And what you saw just pop up at the top, DYOR, you're going to hear that a lot too. Do your own research, which means once you understand how to look at these projects, do your own research and don't just buy something based off of somebody somebody at the table at Thanksgiving told you needed to buy this cryptocurrency because it's going to go up. That's not a good reason to buy. In many cases, a lot of times when you're hearing that, the market's already pumped, and it's a bad time to get in. So DeFi is something you're going to hear a lot. Now, technically, almost everything in cryptocurrency could be considered decentralized finance, but DeFi in particular, what we're talking about here, it's an open and global financial system that's built for the internet age, and it actually allows you to participate in financial markets. In many cases, only banks and financial institutions are able to participate, and some of the most elite and wealthy are able to participate in these markets. But in decentralized finance, anyone that has a cryptocurrency wallet can participate in decentralized finance. There's no identity needed. Nobody can be excluded because of what border that they live on, where they were born, what their background is. Nothing can stop them. And it's a blockchain-based form of finance. It doesn't rely on any centralized finance, no intermediaries such as brokerage exchanges or banks. So imagine, banks use your money and they lend it out to the global market to earn a yield. Now, you don't get any of that back most of the time. You just get what you put in, but they're using your money to make the money. Well, imagine being able to where you're able to provide that loan, that lending, and you can earn a yield back. That's what happens in DeFi. That's just one aspect of DeFi. There's a lot of aspects of DeFi we're going to talk about in these courses. And it restores power back to the people. Like I said, it is a system of inclusion, whereas we are providing access to financial markets, cryptocurrency is, to people that have been excluded forever. And even you and I, many of us may have some form of access, but it gives everybody access. And that is true freedom. We all should have, everybody should have self-sovereign freedom to participate in markets like that, and not only reserved for a select few. And that's what decentralized finance, it flips that pyramid upside down to where instead of it's only the elite few at the top that are able to participate, it flips it upside down to where everyone can participate and everyone can transact because it's a decentralized system. All right. So crypto trading basics. I'm going to go through these next couple ones on a very high level, just because of the sake of time. Going through this, there's a lot to talk about and I can talk for hours, but I want to keep this not too long. And whatever I don't talk about, I will cover. And next Monday, next Wednesday, we're going to continue to have these crypto classes. So join in. Each one's going to cover similar topics, but be slightly different as we try to, we're trying to tweak and adjust and figure out what works best for the community. So that's also why we're doing, different presentations each time. So why trade? Don't trade for the wrong reasons. If you're trading for easy money, trading is not easy money. Or trading on ego or trading for entertainment. It can become where it's a system of gambling. Trading is sophisticated, and it's an emotional game. If you don't understand how to control your emotions, it can be hard to trade, which is why many people understand that they don't want to even get into trading. They just want to get in and invest, and you can do that. Not everybody has to trade, but that's what we want to look at. So determine where you stand, investor, trader, or a little bit of both, but set your expectations early and figure that out of what you want to do. There's tax implications for trading. None of us, I'm sure I'm not a big fan of taxes, but there's more tax implications for trading than there is in investing and holding. But if it's worth it and you're able to turn a profit and it's something you're willing to commit to learn, then you can do well with it. The website that's shown here, DCA BTC, shows something. As an investor, one of the things I've teach people early on, what's the best price to buy Bitcoin at? I remember I mentioned earlier that was a question. And I will tell you right now, the best time to buy it was way back when, but the second best time is right now. Now it could go up, it could go down, but dollar cost average, that DCA part of that website stands for dollar cost average, which means, and I've been doing this since, I think it was January 2017 when I started the dollar cost average part of my strategy, which means every week at a certain time, I've got to set automatically to make a purchase of Bitcoin, and I'll occasionally switch up and purchase other cryptocurrencies as well, but a recurring buy every week. So it doesn't matter what the price is, whether it's going up, whether it's going down, I'm buying every week. And that may sound crazy in the short term, but on the long term, looking back, it really pays off if you're putting into the right thing. And what that website shows you, you can pick any time period in the past and put how much you would have put in each time period, what that time period is. In other words, whether you bought every day, every week, or every month, or whatever. And then it would tell you what that would be worth today. And I challenge you to check that out. You'll see it's some amazing stuff. I did this for a group back actually around this time last year, and I used 2020 as an example. And over the previous 3 years, if someone would have put $50 a week into Bitcoin over a 3-year period, they would have invested a little over $8,000. And that $8,000 at the time was worth about $65,000. And that's the power of having that long-term approach instead of, I'm just going to throw $10,000 or $5,000 into this right now. The market may go up, the market may go down. You don't know what's going to happen, but dollar cost average really smooths out a lot of that volatility. And there's different types of traders. So position traders, which only trade every few months or every few years, depending on what, where the market's going. Those are more long-term. Even investors can typically be considered position traders because at some point they may trade out of what they're going to use or liquidate what they have or spend what they have. So that's a position trader. Swing traders trade on the days or weeks, mainly looking at overall trends. Day traders trade within the day. And then they're scalpers that will trade within looking at the second and the minute charts to where they're getting in and out of trades within a few minutes, just to scalp a quick profit based on what they're seeing in the chart. So there's different types of trading. As you learn what those are and how those work, you're going to identify, if you do want to trade, what is your strategy going to be, and stick to a strategy and make sure you have a strategy set up and you don't just trade off of emotion. We'll come back to this later. Some of the things we've noticed in cryptocurrency over the years is a lot of times when Bitcoin is really moving up very fast, a lot of other altcoins or cryptocurrencies won't move up fast. So a lot of traders will move their cryptocurrency, even if they have several other projects they believe in, they'll move everything into Bitcoin when Bitcoin is doing these massive jumps where you see the price is going up quickly. When the price goes down, when Bitcoin dips, altcoins also suffer. If Bitcoin's climbing slowly or going sideways, then you'll typically see a lot of the altcoins and cryptocurrencies go up, except for some of the low volume ones. So there's a lot of intricacies within the market you can learn, no matter whether the projects are good or bad. Bitcoin controls a large share of the market. So still, what happens with Bitcoin can impact the price of other cryptocurrencies. And understanding that correlation can help you trade better. We go into that as well. Trading pairs describes the asset being traded. So if I'm trading Bitcoin for dollars, it would be Bitcoin to USD. So Bitcoin / USD, which means I'm trading either Bitcoin for dollars or dollars for Bitcoin. And say I want to trade Ethereum to Bitcoin or vice versa, I can buy Ethereum with Bitcoin, or I can sell Ethereum for Bitcoin. So when you hear trading pairs listed, when you hear that term, that's all it's talking about is what is being traded back and forth and what are you wanting to do. So if I have US dollars and I want to buy Bitcoin, I would go to the Bitcoin US dollar pair and choose to buy Bitcoin. That's how trading works. There's order types. So you hear two different types of order types, limit order and market order. Market order means it's going to execute at the current price available, the best price available right now. Limit order means the trade is only going to execute if it hits a certain price. So say right now, Bitcoin is 44,000. I'm like, okay, if Bitcoin dips back down to 42,000, I want to purchase it. I can set a limit order of Bitcoin to buy a certain amount of Bitcoin at $42,000. And if the price hits that, it will execute the order to buy. That's a limit order. If it never hits that price never activates. There's lower fees on limit orders. They're less likely to happen. Market orders typically charge you a little bit higher fees because they're executing instantly. And that's just something to know as you get into trading, especially when you go into some of these exchanges that allow you to purchase on exchanges. So you can practice trading on TradingView, tradingview.com, create an account. You can click on the chart, you can choose Bitcoin. And then when you go to the trading panel, there's an option that says paper trading. All that means is you're not trading with money. You're able to basically test the demo account and learn some of the mechanics of trading, because you'll see in the paper trading panel, it's very similar. Every exchange you're on may look a little different, but the mechanics to operate them are pretty much the same in each one. You just got to learn where each button is located, and you can really get into trading as well. But I recommend, this, it still doesn't give you the emotion of trading with real money, but it at least gives you a start to understand some of the mechanics of trading and look at how you would do if you'd have been trading with money, just to get an idea of what you need to learn as far as your strategy. I'm gonna skip over this one and come back to this. Crypto trading essentials. The market's 24/7. You got to have the right mindset. Trading analysis, news, trading platforms. We cover different trading platforms you can use other than TradingView as well. That'll help you make better trading decisions. Indicators and alerts. There's different indicators and alerts that you can set on some of these trading platforms that will help you identify better entry points and exit points of a trade. And then a disciplined strategy that you stick to. The strategy helps you avoid the emotion of making bad decisions. All right. So last bit we're going to talk about here is NFTs. And I know I'm going kind of quick here. This was actually, we put this together. It seems it's a little bit more than we could do in an hour. But NFT sales surged to over $10 billion. And this is what we put together at the end of last year with the data from the end of last year. And it's not slowing down at all. It's continuing to grow. Non-fungible tokens is what it stands for. But what is an NFT? It's similar to real world collectibles. So when I was a kid, I collected baseball cards, and baseball cards some are more rare than others. Some are more in more demand than others. But imagine having those cards, collectible cards, whether it's baseball cards, sports cards, Pokemon cards, any of those in a digital format would be a collectible. And you can make a digital collectible on the blockchain that's unique, that's one of a kind, or has a set amount of, you can make it as rare as you want, and you can tie different attributes like pictures or videos. We saw NBA Top Shots come out that you're able to buy basketball moments, and those are selling for quite a bit of money now because it's digital. It doesn't just have to be like a fixed static image. It could be a video where you own that moment, and it's rare. And it stands for non-fungible token, NFT. NFT in the digital world, it's a rare digital collectible. It could be art, photography, music, video, even a meme. Once you own that NFT, you have proof of receipt via your ledger, referred to as a blockchain. So you have ownership, and what's happening with these, and I'll get into this in the next slide, but utility behind them. Some of them are initially being purchased just because they're art, just because they're these rare images. But more and more we're seeing, okay, if you hold this NFT, you get access to these different communities that you wouldn't get access to unless you were an owner of that NFT. Gary Vaynerchuk, I'll talk about him in the next few slides as far as what he's done in the NFT space, as far as driving utility around an NFT that gives you access to different things. NFTs can have unlockable content. Musicians are able to release their music and sell them as limited edition NFTs instead of having to go through a record label to release their music. That gives ownership back to the artist and not to the label. So there's a lot of implications of what NFTs can be. I see a future where property titles and vehicle titles, automobile titles will be stored as NFTs on the blockchain to show true ownership of who owns it. We've had projects last year. We had a project where, the owner of a certain car that was painted by an artist was the owner also had an NFT to prove ownership. So the NFT was the proof that car is authentic, that car was created by that artist. So there's so many different things that are going to intersect from the physical to digital world when it comes to NFTs as well. NFTs are mainly on Ethereum blockchain, but many other chains are growing at a rapid pace. We list some here. There's many different NFT marketplaces now that are popping up that make it easier for people to purchase NFTs and also to create NFTs. Anyone can make an NFT. You can also invest versus trade. So what makes the NFT so special? If you could have the original Monet with proof of ownership all the way back to when it was painted. NFTs include a one-of-one exclusive and rarity factor with visible ownership. So imagine that. Just recently, one of my business partners created an NFT for an art gallery, and it was a Thomas Kincaid piece of art that was auctioned off from Thomas Kincaid Galleries, and it came with an NFT, which was your proof of ownership, which was your certificate of authenticity. It had the same image as the physical painting, but it was more than just a physical image. It was the certificate of authenticity that you bought a true, legit Thomas Kincaid painting. So when you purchase an NFT, the proof is and always will exist on the blockchain. It can't be altered. Who's embracing NFTs? Financial geniuses, Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, Gary Vaynerchuk. You also see all these celebrities listed. Major corporations are NFTs can be something as simple as loyalty rewards. Think of the punch card, where every time you go to a store or a restaurant, they give you a punch card, and after you get so many punches, you get something free. That can go digital without any cost of print, to where they can make that a digital, where you have, once you collect the full set of NFTs, you get that that item. So there's no possibility too big or too small for NFT usage. Gary Vaynerchuk, I mentioned earlier, Gary Vaynerchuk created an NFT line, and he hand drew every single one of the NFTs. So he hand drew the art for the NFT, and then they scanned that and created an NFT with it. And, you know, I'm not saying he's a bad artist, but what's great about an animal like a seal, that a cartoon seal that was drawn by Gary V. Well, the beauty of it is they have utility for those NFTs. Each one is different, and it gives you access either to access to him, to his events. It's tickets to his event. It is lunch with him or dinner with him, or the ability to have a phone call with him. He's taken his time, which he's built a brand where people seek after his time and his events. And he's able to take NFTs and use that to basically fractionalize his time and his events and sell those to people as access. So yeah, you bought a picture of a seal from Gary V. It may not be that great to look at, but it gives you amazing access to people that are sought after, especially people that want to learn what he did in the entrepreneurial space. So that's the beauty of NFTs. And the same thing can happen with many of these. Snoop Dogg is releasing a lot of his music now as NFTs. That's going to be coming out very soon. You see that it's in the news all the time. So NFT project evaluation, no different. You want to look at the team, the community behind it. What's the utility? And what are the perks of holding it? Some NFTs will pay you to hold their NFTs, or they have different perks that are available for people that hold them. There's tools that we share within our NFT courses around rarity tools, how to identify which NFTs are more rare than others. You can get on how to get on whitelists, to where whitelists are like pre-sales of NFTs, to where you're able to get in early and purchase an NFT, before it hits the mainstream marketplaces. There's metadata tools right now that you can see some of the data that's behind the NFTs to identify if it's good or bad. And you follow some of the big NFT people on Twitter. It's a great place to learn about NFTs there in Clubhouse. And then, we also teach you how to mint when gas is low. Gas is your network fee, but we go into that in the courses as well. The use cases, I said before: music, art, trading cards, gaming. Gaming is going to be a big aspect. Fashion, virtual real estate, virtual land. Even my virtual identity on Decentraland is an NFT. I can trade it off to somebody if I want to sell my avatar that I created on Decentraland. So there's so many different things you can do. And I've owned land in virtual worlds, and people have built, even Samsung in the last month or two, built a digital store in the virtual world to where you can go in, purchase an item, and that physical item would be sent to you. Now that is the future. When you think of what's so great about a metaverse, that's some of the possibilities. And artists being able to set up their art in a digital art gallery in the metaverse, you purchase that art, and by purchasing that NFT, you're able to go and claim the physical painting, or there's so many different possibilities that's out there. And then it gives control to the creators, artists and musicians that release these. They can not only control the distribution, but when these NFTs are sold and resold, the original creator gets royalties. And a lot of times it's programmed into the code. It'll tell you what it is. The average in the market is about 10%. So an artist today may sell a painting for $500 to feed their family, and they take that $500, and in 3 years or 5 years, that painting may be sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. When it's sold again, that original artist got nothing from that. But with the case of an NFT, that original artist would get 10% of every time it's resold, and that's royalties they get on that. So it can be physical products are also tracked on the blockchain using NFTs. So people are able to, if they someone goes to sell you a piece of art that was released with an NFT, and they don't have the NFT, then chances are the art they're trying to sell you is fake. It's a forgery. They don't have that certificate of authenticity that the blockchain can prove ownership. And that's the beauty of NFTs. NFTs are here to stay. There's so much potential. Gives you the power of being first. So you definitely want to jump in and understand what NFTs are. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I know I said a lot and I talked a lot, and your head may be spinning from what you heard, and guess what? That's okay. That's the one thing people get overwhelmed with the information, and that's when they say, oh, this is too hard for me to understand. But repetition is key. The more you hear about this, the more you learn about it, the more you go through and check out some of these resources that I mentioned here, the more you're going to understand. You may even, like I said, on CoinGecko, you may pull that up and not understand anything I talked about or showed. But as you start to go through it, it's going to start to make more and more sense. And that's how it was for me with cryptocurrency when I started that journey. And it was a lot harder for me because we didn't have these resources that were available everywhere to learn. And now the problem is there's resources everywhere, but what's trustworthy? What's easy to understand? And that's what we do. I try to break everything down to where you understand it from a basic level and really compare it to real world use cases, real scenarios. It makes it more understandable. But I also challenge everybody to do something each day to learn a little bit more about cryptocurrency. And as I mentioned before, so we're going to go deeper into all of these courses, starting, we're going to start having webinars. So these are crypto classes, but we're also going to do webinars for those that are people that are enrolled in DeFinity FI, that are members of DeFinity FI. We're going to have webinars each week for different topics to really go deep and show you what to do, have you do it, have a question and answer to where at the end of each webinar, if you have questions that you have, we can answer those questions. And as the markets continue to shift, this technology is continuing to evolve. We're going to show you those things that are changing, those things that are impacting the market, try to keep you up to date with what's happening, because when you understand what's going on and you understand how to research projects and look at different things, you can make better decisions. Never let the fear or the lack of knowledge stop you from doing anything. You can do anything you put your mind to it, just like this. It may seem overwhelming. It may seem daunting because this is new technology. But guess what? The internet in the 90s was overwhelming to most people. People were like, I'm never going to use that. That's crazy. And now where are we today? What are we on right now? Right. So, but there had to be that tipping point, and that's where we are going with cryptocurrency. We haven't hit that tipping point yet. Every day we're getting closer, and it's going to happen. But everybody, and I said this in the last class, but, and this is my feeling on timeline. The timeline may be skewed and it may be longer, but I think 5 to 10 years from now, everybody's going to be using cryptocurrency, but not everybody's going to understand it or even understand that they're even using it. They're just going to be using it, not even know in some cases. But not everybody, 5 to 10 years from now, not everybody's going to have the chance to benefit financially like we can from now, just by getting involved early, getting involved before adoption, before these projects take off. There's risk in everything. So not everything's a guaranteed or nothing's guaranteed, but the more you learn, the better chance you have of making better decisions. And I'll tell you, look, I've invested in quite a few different cryptocurrency projects. And some of them I've lost money on. I've lost a good bit of money on, but you know what? The more I learn, the more I make better decisions. My win to loss ratio is much better. And that allows me to continue to thrive in the space. And now I'm working with projects to ensure the success of some of the things that I'm putting my word behind and putting my money behind. And that's what you have here. You have an option to help somebody secure a better future, because this is not being taught in school. This is not being taught in classes. In fact, the current financial system, which is outdated, is not even being taught in school. We have to learn that on our own. And when you start sharing that with people, easy. My brother-in-law a few years back told me that he would never get involved with Bitcoin because it's not backed by gold like the US dollar is. And I had to explain to him, the dollar's not backed by gold. He didn't believe me. He thought I was crazy. I had to find the article to show him that, hey, when Nixon in 1973 took us off of the gold standard, and that was, like I said, that was about 3, maybe 4 years ago now. And it was actually last year that he came back to me and apologized that I was right. And it wasn't a pride thing about, I wish he would have listened to me earlier. But now he's getting started, and it's not too late because we still have a long road to go for adoption. So share this with others, share this with people you care about, because everybody needs to know about this. And like I said before, every step you do to move cryptocurrency forward and help people learn about it, that's a step towards moving the world towards freedom, self-sovereign freedom, to where they can control their own outcomes by being able to participate freely without any kind of discrimination or exclusion or anything else. Anybody can get involved in this. So with that, I don't know, Twan, are you still on? I think I'm
on. Yeah, it was great content. I have it recorded, and appreciate you taking the moment and really educating all of us. I think a lot of us got a lot of great content. If you actually got some good content out of this, go ahead and put the number 1 in the chat box below, just so that actually Blockchain Wayne can see that you actually got some great information out of it, and you can see that there's a lot to learn. So drop a 1 if you actually felt like you got some good information here. We appreciate Blockchain Wayne actually making the commitment, putting an education team together to actually give this crypto class every single week. But no, I don't have anything else to say. Everyone here got a lot of content out of it. And yeah, I'll just pass it to you if you have any closing comments. But we're good to go, man. We'll go from there. Man.
Yeah, really. I mean, we're going to try to keep these things shorter. My goal for these is always 30 to 45 minutes, but still getting the PowerPoints together, finding the content that's important. Like I said, we're going to tweak it each time. But invite people to those classes. I mean, they're free. Anybody can hop on this. I mean, so what do you have to lose? Share the recordings, and just know that we're going to have the opportunity to go deeper into these courses. We want to make sure that nobody misses out on anything because they were too scared or didn't understand it. We're going to help you with that. All you got to do is commit to showing up when the courses start to show up, going through those courses, joining some of the live webinars of the topics that interest you, that you want to learn more about, and then continue to share with others, because that's what's going to drive success. The more you all understand cryptocurrency, the more we move towards adoption, the better my investments are going to do as well, your investments, and anybody else you care about, because it's not so much just about investments. We're getting into projects that have the potential to change the world for the better. So with that, that's all, everyone. Thank you for joining tonight, and I look forward to seeing everybody. And like I said, next week, whether you can make it or not to the ones next week, invite your friends, invite your family, and invite them to at least get on. And we can definitely help to push this space forward and help people learn the right way, instead of people start to Google and they start to find out things that or they learn things that weren't really helpful or weren't really right. We'll make sure they get the right information.
Sounds good. Absolutely. And then, Joseph did have a question before we wrap things up. I just want to make sure that we did answer a question. He asked, at which moment are you going to go over what are the best debit cards to use or credit cards to use in the crypto space?
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's one of the courses we have. Most of our team have used multiple of them. I've got a few of them in my wallet, just because I'm always one, if I hear about a crypto program, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to check it out. So I do that. So there's quite a different ones. We'll go through some pros and cons. Everything else, there's no guarantees on those, but there are some ones that are really good in terms of allowing you to, most of the cards right now, they just allow you to convert your cryptocurrency to dollars or whatever your currency is, to load the card up, almost like loading up a prepaid card. There's also other ones that allow you to purchase and earn Bitcoin back. So we'll go through some of those. There's a few that we recommend, but that is part of the coursework.
Awesome. Well, look, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I think the class is absolutely finished, and then we look forward to seeing everyone next Monday, same time. So we'll definitely go from there. Thank you so much. And if you're a guest, get back with the person who invited you on to get more information if you have any questions about the courses. So with that, thank you so much. We'll have the recording available for everyone.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Blockchain Wayne. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.